First, I'd like to welcome all of our attendees to the Windshire Group's Ask the Expert series, How to Leverage the Digital Revolution in Early Stage Companies, with our special guest from the Court Square Group. My name is Jen Bardsley, and I'll be serving as your moderator for today's webinar. I currently serve as the account manager slash operations manager for the Windshire Group. On today's agenda, I'll introduce you to our panelists, and then they are going to go over some common industry concerns through a question and answer forum. And then we can move over to our new audience question and answer. So please feel free to submit your questions throughout the webinar. You can use the Q&A icon on your control panel and submit them. If for some reason we run out of time at the end, to get to your question, we will respond to you directly at a later time. And then we'll conclude, and then we'll have our final conclusion of the webinar. So I would like to note that the views expressed in this webinar are those of the panelists. It's for informational purposes only. It's not intended as legal or regulatory advice. And to introduce our panelists, we have Dr. James Blackwell, who's president and principal consultant for the Windshire Group, which was founded in 2011. The Windshire Group accelerates development and manufacturing for commercializing therapies and provides quality expertise. Dr. Blackwell has been a leading industry consultant for more than 15 years. And we also have Keith Parent, who is a founder and CEO of Court Square Group. He leads the company in the vision for using IT as a strategic enabler for life science companies from preclinical all the way to manufacturing. Now I'd like to, it's my pleasure to turn the presentation over to Dr. Blackwell, and then we will move over to the common questions.
Thanks, Jen. The session is being recorded and will be available later. So the webinar today really is the marriage of the user requirements for small companies and the marriage of that and the IT structure and organization of the company. It's a very important factor. And why is this important? This is very important for small companies because it's important for them to improve their operational efficiency. People spend less time looking for stuff, and it speeds up your business processes. And you want to facilitate decision-making. You want to be able to access the most current and correct information, and it increases organizational value. A disorganized information with their information all over the place can kill a deal. We've seen that happen. Due diligence and data rooms need to be well designed and populated with good information to facilitate deal making. So that can be very important to small companies. And you're creating very valuable information. And this will be important later for your regulatory filings and for compliance needs and for your technical people who want to access and understand the history in terms of what's happening within the organization. So this helps you avoid compliance issues later, patient privacy laws, health authority issues, or potentially even SEC violations. And also, it creates a more satisfied workforce. Studies have shown people are happier when they're dealing with an environment that are well organized and they're able to work efficiently. Nobody wants to be in a cumbersome, inefficient, time-wasting environment. Next slide, Jen.
Okay, we will, I'll start off with this common question that we get. So question number 1. All our documents and data are stored in different places, including people's email. We need to organize and consolidate. How do we consolidate without creating a burden on our scientists and development personnel?
Keith, would you like to start this?
Hey, Jenny, I'm going to jump on this question if you don't mind. And first, I want to thank you, the Windshire Group, for inviting Court Square to be part of this Ask the Expert series. And our goal today, is working with our expertise around managing lots of companies all the way from, the largest pharma companies down to the smallest startup companies. And, we see this illustration that we see in front of us right now talks about a lot of the different things that we see in our client base where people have documents everywhere, and it could be content, it could be Excel spreadsheets, it could be PDF documents, it could be Word documents. People are trying to edit things and sending different versions over. One of the biggest problems that we have is that people can't find anything. We did a project with one client who wanted to put in a governance plan and a governance model for their environment. And one of the problems that they had is that they anticipated and calculated that they lost 40% of their productivity just on trying to find documents. So when you think about that over the course of a company, as you start to grow, it's easy when you only have a couple people and you're sharing one area, whether it's Box or Dropbox or some people have Ignite. There's lots of different tools that are out there. They could have their file share. But the goal is, how do we find documents? How do we make it so that it's efficient for us to work this way? And also, when you start to hire new people coming into an organization, you know, the people on the business side have one way of looking at how their documents are. The people in the lab may have a different way of looking at it. They may be using different applications. Everybody's got a laptop typically, or they've got some other device, and trying to, you know, correlate all those documents around an environment becomes a real nightmare. What's the most common way that people do things? James, where have you found some of the biggest things with your clients?
Well, Box,